Alright, I think I might have found my favorite vehicle here at the Off Road Expo. Look at this FJ40 Land Cruiser here at the Bilstein booth. By the way, it's Bilstein, not Bilstein.
I'm Proffitt from Proffitt's Restoration Land Cruisers in Colorado, and I'm a motor baby. Behind me is this 1971 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40 that we built into an all Toyota retro FJ40 rock crawler. This vehicle's been stretched 13 3/4 inches so we can get a little bit more wheelbase for climbing hills and then high-speed off-road stuff. And we've got a 3-link suspension in the front, 4-link suspension in the rear. And like I said before, it's all Toyota, so we have a 3FE engine underneath the hood out of a 1988 FJ62, and then we've got an A440 automatic transmission combined to the split case from the same FJ62 with 4-to-1 gears in it. Underneath in the axles, the FJ62 axles, we've got ARB locking differentials and 529 gears, and all of that. Everything other than those aftermarket items that I talked about, it's all Toyota. Of course, Bilstein helped out with this build. It's a fantastic company, and their partnership with Toyota made them a natural choice for us. And this thing rides just about as good off-road as it drives on the road. Under the hood of this FJ40 is a 3FE fuel-injected straight 6 from a 1988 FJ62. And this particular engine was rebuilt in-house. Nothing fancy, just a stock rebuild with a new cam. It's a nice amount of power, and it keeps that Toyota DNA, so we've got the grunt and the torque of a straight 6 engine, which matches this build just perfectly. And behind the engine is an A440F automatic transmission, and the stock split case from an FJ62, but with 4-to-1 gears in it from advanced adapters. So we tried to keep this Land Cruiser interior as near stock as possible, although this year Land Cruiser would have had a bench seat traditionally. We upgraded to buckets out of just a little bit newer Land Cruiser and covered them in leather. I wanted to keep the interior as stock looking as possible, so we kept the factory dash layout with all of the original knobs and switches, but to keep a little bit better tabs on the vehicle's systems, we installed some Dakota digital gauges, which are a really nice set of gauges for the monitoring of the engine. We've got a Tuffy security console, and it's all nicely lit up by some rigid A-series lights and our 6-point family roll cage. And then in the back of this Land Cruiser, you'll notice that there's some custom floor modifications that have been done to accommodate the shock towers that are sticking up through the back. And we also raised the entire interior floor and the height of the wheel wells so that we can have a low center of gravity and make room for those tires to come up in the wheel wells. You'll notice some of the factory bumps and body lines we've pressed back into the new sheet metal to give it a factory Toyota-like appearance.
That's so awesome. And I'm a big Toyota. My whole life I've been driving Toyotas or Lexus,
oh, cool.
So that's one of the things I really loved about this, like the OEM look, even though it's obviously completely modified, but it looks freaking amazing.
That's what we were going for.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the roll cage, what you were thinking, and what you're going for?
Okay. So this roll cage is based off of our normal family 6-point cage design. It's got the traditional A hoop that we build for all of our FJ40 roll cages, but the addition of a double B hoop, mainly just to make the cage fit the length of the vehicle a little bit better. And so 8 points of the cage are tied into the frame with a rubber isolated bushing.
Wow. So, why does this FJ, it looks longer than a normal FJ. So what's the deal with that?
So we stretched this Land Cruiser about 13 3/4 inches right here behind the B pillar of the door. Coincidentally, right to the exact length of an FJ43, which is a Colombian spec Land Cruiser. And it gave us, we stretched it that way, not so much for passenger room, although that's a nice benefit of it. It's more just so we could have the wheelbase that we were looking for without cutting the whole rear of the cruiser off and having the tires stick way back. So again, because this was important to us that this looks like a Land Cruiser, feels like a Land Cruiser, has the ability to run a hard top. We jumped through quite a few hoops to make that possible.
Awesome. So one of the things I was freaking out when I saw these, because I was like, what the hell? They look like the factory wheels, but with bead locks.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So So believe it or not, these wheels were actually kind of the motivation behind building this entire rig.
What?
We wanted to build a 17-inch factory-looking beadlock that was able to run the original hubcap. And after we had built the set of wheels, we thought, well, we better build a vehicle on top of it.
What? That's amazing. Wow. So what are the specs of the wheels and tires?
So these wheels started out with a set of FJ40 factory disc brake wheels, 15-inch wheels.
Right.
And we removed the center and part of the original wheel shell to weld it inside of a 17 by 8-inch wheel shell, and then turned them into beadlocks on top of that. We've got a set of 13.5 by 40-inch Maxxis Trepidors around those, and it makes for a really cool original look. So we all know that Bilstein makes terrific shock absorbers, and their existing relationship with Toyota made it a no-brainer for us to want to include their suspension products on this vehicle. What we've got is a set of 80-125 45mm body Bilstein coilovers, and of course some Bilstein bump stops to aid in that suspension. 14-inch travel coilover shocks, front and rear on this Land Cruiser, and they perform very, very well. Off-road, I find myself leaving people in the dust because it rides so well.
Wait, so are you telling me you actually drive this thing off-road frequently? Because this looks,
yeah,
it looks just as shiny underneath.
I think we weren't supposed to, but we've got 600 or 700 miles of off-road use on this vehicle since it was built. And
wow.
It takes a little time to clean up for shows like this, but probably a lot more off-road miles in its future.
So wait, did you detail this yourself, or did you have somebody do it?
Everything we do in our shop is sort of a team effort. We've got a pretty good sized team of people, and I think at one point everybody had a rag in their hand. But yeah, we cleaned it up ourselves, and it won't be the first time.
Wow, this thing's amazing, man. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm an FJ40 fan. I don't have one yet, but I live kind of like near TLC and where Spectre was.
Yeah. Sometimes,
like every once in a while, I'll see a really clean FJ going down the street and be like, damn, that's like a really high dollar bill. So I absolutely love these. Now, where are you guys from again? You're from Resurrection.
Yeah, it's Proffitt's Resurrection Land Cruiser. It's our company. Okay. We're on the western slope of Colorado between Grand Junction and Montrose in a town called Austin.
Oh, wow.
I've seen you've been here taking some footage of this build for a while, and I bet you can walk around it 5 or 6 times and not catch all of the detail. But
that's what I'm asking.
I can tell you've got an eye for it. So maybe there's some things that you've already seen. Every piece of this Land Cruiser was built in-house in our shop, and just about every part of it's been modified or touched in some way. And so that's kind of the fun of building these things, for me anyway, is to build something that's been modified but so subtly that you may or may not notice. For example, the windshield on this has been chopped an inch, so it's an inch shorter than a factory windshield, just to give it a little bit sleeker look. And just about everything. The front bezel has been narrowed right around 1.5 inches.
Wait, what was narrowed?
The bezel, which is the white headlight surround. Just to keep the front tires when you're turned, and articulated all the way up to keep the front tires from rubbing on the side of it.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of little modifications to it.
I love it. Cool. Well, thanks a lot for showing us the FJ, and that's about it. How can people find you guys online?
Well, let's see, that's a good question. So on the web, we are at resurrectionlandcruisers.com. Instagram, we are at ProCruiser. And on Facebook, we're also at Proffitt's Resurrection Land Cruisers.
And Instagram, you said, is at ProCruiser?
Yeah, Instagram is at ProCruiser.
Okay.
Also, we have a YouTube channel under Resurrection Land Cruisers, where we've got a series of shows about our shop there. I think we're on episode 11 now, and they're actually pretty fun to watch, so check us out on YouTube.
Awesome. I'm going to link it in the description.
Cool.